Hi, this is Chrissy Incognito, and welcome to another episode of my show. Now, you might be wondering why I'm incognito. This is my alter ego that can say things that I cannot otherwise say unless I was incognito. So, thank you for returning. In order to understand more about this episode, view the previous episode. Happy listening. Okay, so I wanted to get into the segment. I briefly touched upon it in the Greg episodes that I have removed myself from the dating scene. And I want to talk about a little bit about that. Now, I've shared like 98% of my entire life in this blog and podcast. Okay. A lot of stuff I have not thought about in years. A lot of stuff maybe I never even talked about. And but I feel it's important, so I wanted to create a platform in which I can share and leave a legacy, let's say, right? Because I don't have any children. So I chronicle my life. Okay. So my entire life, so my first obviously formal dating relationship was Eric at 14. But my very first boyfriend was in the 3rd or 4th grade, okay? And, so what I'm saying is that I always had a boyfriend, or I always had, like, somebody I was interested in or somebody that was interested in me. There was always, like, a flow of life going on, okay? It was like whether it worked out, it didn't work out, it went somewhere, it didn't go somewhere. I liked them, they didn't like me, they liked me, and I didn't like them. Okay. So, in all my relationships, regardless of what transpired, I on that road, right? Um, my relationships in real life, and what I mean in real life is that who I didn't meet over the internet didn't work out. I say this, and people don't really get this. I was a pioneer in online dating, okay? Because I had started to be online in 1990. Okay. Online dating, I would say, did not become big until the last 10 years. So maybe like 2014 or whatnot. But in 1998, it was happening, obviously, but it wasn't like it is now. Okay. So I feel like I was a pioneer in that. I took a chance, put myself out there. I took a chance. It didn't work. I was hurt. Um, there was a lot of mental decompensation because I became very depressed and whatnot. Point I'm making is that I always continued. Okay. I kind of outgrew a situation, or a situation didn't work. And I went on and I went on and I went on and I went on for like 100 years of my life. Okay. The Greg relationship devastated me so much. And the way I say this, again, true, not true, real, not real. I'm just saying it the way I see it. Okay. People would say, well, obviously he didn't love you because he left you. Obviously. Okay. But the whole time we were together, it was genuine to me. If I ever, um, suspected that he didn't want to be with me, or he wasn't as invested in this as I was, I would have left. Okay. And it's very interesting. So I want to backtrack a little. So when Greg and I had broke up, it was like the first 6 months, um, when Greg and I broke up, and I was walking Landon, which I will, um, feature in Landon's corner. We'll eventually get there. Um, because I feel like without Landon, I feel like he really, really helped me out, through this. He helped me through this, and it wasn't just his presence. He had a way of being just a mature dog. And we will get into that. I don't usually use the word dog, but for everybody that doesn't understand my lingo about animals, I call them babies. So anyway, let me continue. So it was probably the first 6 months of Greg and I breaking up, and I'm walking Landon, and what's going through my head, and I don't know why this went through my head. So what kept resounding in my head was, I got rid of Lance, I would have gotten rid of you. Got rid of Lance, I would have gotten rid of you. And I was not drinking at this point. I wasn't taking any drugs. I wasn't drinking, but I would be just trying to clear my mind walking Landon. I was like, why am I even thinking about Lance? I was like, and it kept on for weeks, resounding in my head every single time Landon and I went for a walk. I said, okay, let me backtrack. Like, obviously, my mind or a higher power is trying to tell me something. Okay, why am I even thinking about Lance right now? Yes, I got rid of Lance. So I had to kind of reflect on this. There's a song, "Give me your heart, make it real, or unless forget about it." I fucked that up. But you know the song. It has Rob Thomas in it. So give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. That's how I feel. Okay. I don't need a boyfriend. I don't need any of that stuff. I want a true significant other. I want a heartmate, in which I thought I found. Okay. So we go on with this bullshit, obviously, because it was bullshit. And that's part of the reason I was so devastated after he, got rid of me. Um, because I thought we were planning a life together. Excuse me. I thought we were planning a life together. So for him to all of a sudden be like, yeah, she's the priority now, and you're out there. I was like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? I don't know who the hell you are, you know? And so my thinking is that I knew there was two things that were going through my mind. One of the things was, I did not want to lose the love of my life. I did not want to lose my everything, my love, my heart, my soul, my future, my presence, my past, for the time that we had spent together. That was all that kept going through my head. I did not want to lose the love of my life. As we were breaking up, I started obviously to realize that he probably acted more assured because he felt. So what I believe is that he felt exactly how I believed he thought, as long as nobody came along. That's a house of cards, in my opinion. You can't be like, I love you, as long as there's nobody else. That is a fucking facade. That is a house of cards that all you have to do is blow on it and it falls over. But that's what I believe. And I don't believe he was like conscious. I don't believe he was like, yeah, I love you as long as nobody comes along. He did not, he never had anybody before me. So he didn't expect anybody ever pay attention to him or to give him attention or interested in him. So it wasn't, I don't believe he was like, well, yeah, if nothing else comes along, I love you. No, but I think he understood that the chances of somebody coming along and the chances of somebody liking you and wanting the same things as you do and all this other crap is very, very slim. That's why when it happened, he took it. He took it, which we'll get into that. But I believe he really was sincere because he didn't believe there was anybody else. So he did invest and he did feel and he did want. Okay. But that to me is not real feelings. That to me is a fucking piece of bullshit. Okay. Okay. So the first thing I had to examine was the person that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, which I completely believed he wanted the same thing. Um, I was now going to be without, you know. The Evanescence song, "You Can't Just Leave Me Now That I Know What I'm Without." I just cannot imagine somebody taking my interest, holding my interest, having my interest. I don't give a shit. I really don't care. And I really don't have the energy to explain about my life. And that so what I'm saying is that when you like somebody or you're in the dating scene, that's a really big thing that I never lack, good, bad, or indifferent of my relationships. Okay. I always wanted to hear about them and I always wanted to tell them about me. Now I'm just like, I think if the relationship had ended early in the situation, I would have kept on, which meant I would have went through exactly I would have met and it wouldn't have worked out. I met, maybe date a little bit, and then it ended and blah blah blah. There would have been this I'm interested, I'm I'm willing to give it a shot. When you have what you want, you just don't fucking give a shit about anybody. Meaning in that way. I don't care. I don't care, especially like 50 and over. Like, what am I gonna do with that? That's my age. I get it. That's a fucking old man. I don't, and I will never trust a young man again. And what I mean young is like under 50, you know? So I am doomed, right? I understand that I will never be in a relationship again. And I can safely say that even if somebody did come along, let's say, so there was a bunch of new people that started at work, okay? Which we'll get into the whole work thing later, but okay. So there was a whole bunch of new people that started at work. So let's just say, for argument's sake, they're there for a while. They ask me, "Oh, do you have a, boyfriend? Or you have a girlfriend? Are you married? What's your situation?" If I said, "No, I'm single," and let's say, just for argument's sake, they said, "Oh, I have a friend or I have a cousin that's your age and single. Do you want to like meet them? You want to come over to the house? You want to meet them?" And honestly, honestly, I'd be like, "What the hell?" Right? I'm not going to like him. I'm not going to be attracted to him, especially if he's my age. If he's younger, I'm not going to trust him. I honestly would be like, "Sure. What's one more wasted night? What's one more bad date?" Okay. I'm sorry, my hair's in my face. I would honestly take the person up on that situation. Absolutely. Okay. But I can guarantee the second I walk in, I'm I'm not going to be attracted to them. If I were, I'd be like, "Why are you single?" Okay. Now, if he just got divorced, your priority should be getting yourself together. It should not be a rebound. Okay. If, God forbid, you're widowed, again, you should be getting yourself together. You should not have a rebound. Most people will rebound either, most people are divorced or widowed. They will come back pretty quickly because they don't want to be alone. They want companionship, and that's understandable. Okay, that's understandable. But either you're desperate or you're not over your significant other. Like, that's usually what it comes down to. Either like, yeah, I know I'm divorced, yeah, I'm widowed, but I'm desperate not to be alone, and that's the priority. And that's why I'm able to move on so quickly. Okay. Or I'm still hung up on it. I'm still hung up on my ex. I'm still hung up on my deceased wife. And where are you going with that? You'll always be second rate to like a dead person or a rejected what, somebody who rejected him, So I just feel like I cannot imagine anybody coming along that is normal. Now, I'm in the middle of a lot of things now, but as far as Greg, I I decided from jump I would never take him back. Okay. Did I wish more than anything that we could work it out? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I knew it was broken. He broke my trust. I would never even consider him. And how good our relationship was, if you could just leave me for a stranger, for how good our relationships, I have nothing else to give you. I gave you everything I could give you. I gave you all of me. And evidently, either you were too stupid or too stupid to realize that. And so if he ever came back, I'd be like, no. Like, I gave you everything I had, and you responded to it very, very nicely. You seemed you were on the same page with me. You left me like that for a stranger, okay? And I've got nothing I don't have anything else to give you. I already gave you everything. And in my opinion, once I would rather take a chance on a stranger that could maybe be more reliable than take him back. And I will talk about the whole Greg thing, taking him back, um, in the next episode.